Hello students, how are you today? So we meet again. I'm Wiwik Andreani from English Department, Binus University. So our module is Be Proficient in English with Binus. And these are our learning objectives. So at the end of this session, you will be able to use proper English expression in offering and suggesting. And you are also able to modify a language or conversation in speaking by using proper English expressions. Are you ready? Well, this is what we review from our previous lesson. Do you still remember how you make suggestions? How you make offers? So, I do believe that you still remember. Look at this slide. If you want to make offers, you may use models. For example, may I? Would you like to drink? For example, shall I? Is there anything I can do to help you? And for making suggestions, you can use how about, why don't you, and let's. Here is the format to remind you. Please remember, if you use model, then you have to use verb 1. For example, may I bring you a cup of coffee? So I think you can repeat after me. May I bring you a cup of coffee? Yes, that's great. Can I open the door? Would you like to have another piece of cake? Repeat after me. Would you like to have another piece of cake? Well done. Now, how about making suggestions? If you use what about or how about, please remember the verb ing should follow them. For example, how about watching movie? Repeat after me. How about watching movie? What about buying some flowers first? What about buying some flowers first? And when you use let's or why don't you or I think you should, then you have to use verb 1. Let's go now. Why don't you talk to your parents? I think you should consult your counselor. Okay. So hopefully this format can remind you of our previous material. Now we have a reading text. This is a true story because it happened in 1977. The title is, I've just jumped off the Empire State Building. Please look at the title. If the title is, I've just jumped off, so do you think the person is still alive when he or she writes this essay or this article? What do you think? Yes, you are right. The person is still alive. So how can it be? Are you curious to read what it happens to him? Okay, Let's see. So, the first step, please study the vocabulary used in the text. So, while reading, I would like you to pay attention to the vocabulary. And then the second one, we will read the text together. And finally, I would like you to make 2 offers and 2 suggestions to the person. Ready? Okay, so this is the first part. Yeah, I will read it for you. John Helms, a young artist, found himself all alone in New York City at Christmas time. He had no money and was so depressed that he decided to kill himself. Helms, aged 26, took a lift to the top of the Empire State Building. For a few moments, he looked over the safety fence. Then he said a short prayer before throwing himself off. A short time later, he awoke to find himself on a ledge of the 85th floor, blown there by strong winds. He took a look at the cars crawling along Fifth Avenue, about 300 meters below, and decided not to commit suicide after all. He knocked on the window, which was opened by Bill Stegman, who had been hard at work in his office. "I couldn't believe my eyes," said Bill. "You don't see a lot of guys coming in through the window of the 85th floor." I poured myself a stiff drink and one for him too. So the story had a happy ending. When the story was reported on the radio, hundreds of families called Helms to offer him a home for the holidays, so he was able to enjoy Christmas after all. What do you think of the story? It's interesting, isn't it? So please look at the last slide here. When the story was reported on the radio, hundreds of families called Helms to offer him a home for the holidays, so he was able to enjoy Christmas after all. Now, how about you? If you were supposed to offer him a place to stay, maybe, or maybe you can offer him something else. I guess you still remember what we should do. The first step, please find the vocabulary, especially the new vocabulary, and you have to consult the dictionary for the meaning of the vocabulary. The second one, we have read the text. And the third one, I would like you to make 2 offers and 2 suggestions to John Helms. So here it is. The first one, write 3 new expressions from the text. If you found more, yeah, it's up to you. Okay, so maybe you can write the expressions. Okay, let's look at what I have written here. So in my notes, you have throwing himself off, a ledge on the 85th floor, commit suicide, had been hard at work, and pour a stiff drink. Do you have a list the same as mine? Please check the meaning of the vocabulary with the dictionary. Okay? And now I would like you to write 2 offers and 2 suggestions to John Helms. Let's say that you were a friend of him. And please use some expressions of making offers and making suggestions that we have discussed. And remember, what we learn with pleasure, we never forget. This is a quote from Alfred Mercier. Okay, so these are what we have done so far. The first one, we have reviewed the format of making offers and making suggestions. And after that, you can accept and you can decline offers and suggestions. So please check how to decline and how to accept in the previous session. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching and see you next time.